All right. It looks like we are live. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network. This is the new and improved Conscious Radio Network. Welcome to the live stream or weekly live stream for Wednesdays, which will soon move to Mondays. This is the weekly Séance. And tonight's special guest, Maestra Anita, has served many traditions and has set on councils of elders around the world. Her oneness with divine ayahuasca motivated many years. Yeah, I'm looking at a distance here. Motivated many years of leading intensely transformal sacred ceremonies worldwide. A lifetime dedicated to changing lives, accelerated. Yeah, her exceptional skills in channeling shamanism, psychic insight, and accessing the multidimensional self. As a trainer of shamans, she is uniquely capable of bringing up your own inner healer. I welcome the one and the only, Maestra Anita.
Woo! Hello, hello. Thank you for having me
You are very
here.
welcome. I'm honored to have you on finally.
Yeah, finally. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. Yeah, it's been since December since we last had our retreat.
Yeah.
So, but this is going to be a very interesting evening because tonight we are talking. The title of the show tonight is specifically "Aliens" with Annie, and let's get out of the frying pan and into the fire, and let's start talking about this multi-dimensional awareness that you would like to share with us.
Okay. Well, first, I would like to share my first alien encounter. So, this happened to me many, many, many years ago. I can't put a specific date on it. And that's what ends up happening also when you're more aware of the multidimensional self. Time kind of does something funny to you, right?
Oh yeah.
You're aware time is an illusion. And so you're what seems to be like something that happened a week ago was actually 2 years ago.
Mm,
So I know this happened a long time ago though.
yeah.
So I was in my country in Chile. And at that time, I hated the topic of aliens. I didn't want anything to do with it. And at that time, also, the topic of aliens in my life really wasn't discussed, right? It was something I was clueless in, but I knew I was scared about it. And I
Yeah.
think it's because I was clueless in it as well, right? Which I think happens to a lot of people regarding the topic of aliens. And so I am at this point in my country, and I went to Cajon del Maipo, which is a beautiful area in the Andes Mountains. I went camping with my cousin, my brother, and at the time, my brother's girlfriend. And when the night hit, the stars were just like right in your face. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're sitting back, looking at the fire, at the stars, and I see this light hovering over the mountains. We're in the middle of freaking nowhere, by the way. We're like hours and hours and hours away from anything, right?
Yeah.
And so I looked at my cousin, and with fear, I said to him, I said, "Oh my God, what is that?" And he says, "Oh, that's a UFO." Like, so what? I was like, "What are you talking about?" He says, they're sighted here all the time. And then I thought inside of my own mind, I said, okay, if that's a UFO, it's just going to take off, right? And boom, like out of nowhere, this huge light that appeared over the mountain was absolutely gone. Well, that night when we went to sleep, everybody was sleeping, but I wasn't, because all I kept hearing all night was, it sounded like a circular motion, like like engines or something. It sounded
Yeah.
like that, right? And so I was up vigilant all night, too scared to get out of the tent, trying to sleep under my cousin, like sleep under somebody.
Yeah.
Um, and then the next morning, we go back to Santiago, and I'm in my grandmother's apartment, of all places. You would think that this experience would happen in the mountains, but it happened in an apartment. I'm in my own room in my grandmother's apartment in Santiago, and I see an image in the corner of the room. And at that time in my life, I was used to seeing things because I have a long experience in, seeing things. I was born with the gift of sight, right?
Yeah.
But I knew this thing was something I had never seen before. I knew that I knew that I knew it was an alien.
Yeah.
Um, and I was so scared, I wanted to scream. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hurry up and turn on the lights, right? But I could not move. I was absolutely frozen. And all I could do was, I remember, just move my eyes. And all of a sudden, I can feel this thing next to me. Again, I could not turn my head, but I did see a long, what appeared to be like finger, but it wasn't a regular finger. It was like really long and really wide.
Yeah.
And I could feel it close to my temple. And what proceeded to happen to me after that was a series of numbers and of fast-paced images. It was like one after another, one after another. And I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. And after that experience, I still didn't know what just happened to me.
Yeah.
I was just like, what was that? And who do I share this information with? Like what just happened to me? But I
Yeah.
did feel different. I felt different. And a couple years later, I was working in a botanica, a spiritual shop, and this woman who is a UFO expert came in and started speaking. And when I shared with her my story, I don't remember what she said, but she said something, and I feel like it activated something in my brain where all of a sudden everything that appeared solid was like vibration and turned into like liquid.
Huh.
It was like, I was just like, how they say you really want to wake up? Well, when you wake up, like all of a sudden everything just disappears.
Yeah.
That's what actually happened to me. And I was just like, oh my God, what is happening to me? And then, so I'm just giving you the brief description of my alien experience. So again, I wasn't sure. I didn't know who to talk to. I spoke to her for a little bit, but then I just kind of didn't want to deal with it because I was still kind of scared of it. And
Yeah.
then comes Madrecita Ayahuasca.
Uh,
Right. So at this point, I had done many ceremonies with ayahuasca. And in one specific ceremony, I remember very clear that I saw this alien figure in front of me, and it literally just sat on top of me. And when it sat on top of me, I was no longer me. I was this alien being. And I remember that when I got up, I was in a sitting position. When I got up, I don't even remember my knees making the flex motion to get up. I was just like up.
huh.
And what I saw was, again, this series of vibrations, and this clicking noise started coming out of my throat. Um, and I knew it was changing the dimensions of what appeared to be solid. And again, I just knew that I knew that I was that alien. So this is when we talk about alien encounters or alien experiences, what I feel is occurring, because time is an illusion, is that you're meeting that aspect of yourself right now.
Yeah.
you know so the multidimensional self says we are many things simultaneously all at the same time, right? So that alien version that you are encountered with is that part of yourself that seems to be foreign, but it's really not. It's really you,
Huh.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you one other brief description because I know you're going to like this one. So one time, I have stories that I can tell you probably like 20 hours of stories, but I'm just going to
Yeah.
give you this last one, right? Um, I was in a woman's house that I was staying in, and I went to lay down, but to pray. a lot of times I pray laying down. So I pray and I put my hand in my chest and one in my stomach, and I just start seeing like this gold inside of me start glowing, which I perceive as source energy. And so I was actually at that point in my life praying, and I said, I just want to see you, source. I just want to see you. I just want to see you. And then all of a sudden, without um, any type of medicines, I saw long, tall, white, like energy beings on the side of me. Again, what happened to me was I could not physically move my body,
Yeah.
but there's these tall, light beings all around me. And I have my eyes closed, but I can see them with my eyes closed. And then all of a sudden, I see myself inside of a spaceship. I knew that it was a spaceship. I knew that it was a spaceship. It's like when you know that you know that you know without
Yeah.
a shadow of a doubt. I'm in the spaceship and I'm speaking with these aliens. And the way I speak to the aliens is it's more of like there's no words that the no interaction of words what we think words are, right? It's more of like a, how do you call
Telepathic.
this, mind,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
a telepathic conversation. And so in my conversation with them, I'm upset at them. And then I said to them, I said, well, why'd you bring me up here? I am looking to just connect to source. Why am I here? Like, you guys can't do this to me. And and I hear back, what you're looking for, your body cannot handle right now. We
Mm,
are rearranging your DNA to get you to that place that you want to be in a consistency.
yeah.
And then I felt like a download happened. And after that, during ceremonies, I sing this thing where I see the DNA changing in people. It's like we have to get rid of some stuff that we picked up. I know that was a lot of information,
Oh, I get it.
but
I
that's
get
like, yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
similar to
that's
what
like,
now that you explain it, it's similar to what I felt during my ayahuasca experience. Is I knew I was where I was, is
mhm,
I was brought on a ship. They showed me the
mhm,
ship, not all of it, but only what they wanted me to see. And what they wanted me to experience was myself, experiencing, like you said, my past, present, future, the part of me that is them, part of them, and giving me these
right,
downloads.
right,
Like, hey,
yes,
I got to rearrange your energy. I got to rearrange your DNA and the structure, because we're all shifting, and it seems like there's something happening that
yes,
they know that's happening, and I wouldn't say the chosen ones, but that's almost what it feels like when we talk about it. It's like, hey, all right,
right.
you're ready, download, boom, you know.
Right.
So
And I think that the chosen one, that what you just said, the chosen ones are those that are in a point in their life where they're willing to surrender all they think that they know,
yeah,
right? That they open themselves up to allow themselves to receive something greater than they could ever think would be possible, right?
yeah,
So that experience that you had during the ceremony is something I sing to every ceremony. And a lot of people during these ceremonies will experience it, that alien encounter, will feel their DNA being rearranged. Now, how is that actually happening? And how it's actually happening is you're literally there.
yeah,
So it's one of the things that ayahuasca helps you with, is it helps you get out of your construct of limitation, right? Helps you get out of that, so then you can see where you really are, which is the multidimensional self. You're
yeah,
really in all these other places simultaneously, right? It seems so expensive and just so much, because it is. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So it's the vibrations that actually change the DNA, by the way. It's certain sounds, certain vibrations. And I keep seeing this over and over and over and over again, is that there's nothing solid. What appears to be solid for us is because we have defined something as this is what it is. So in our creative capacity, which is so much, we say this is a table, and this table is solid, and this is how it feels. But when we let go of the title of all limitations and we open up to all possibilities, we see that table completely dissolving. And
Yeah.
so when we get into that part, that visionary state of our mind, when we think that we are looking at a table, when we let go of the expectation that there is a table there, what happens is all of a sudden, boom, you're in somewhere else. You're in another dimension. You're in another part of the world. You're in another era. You're everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And when you talk about too, it's like a frequency, because I
Yeah.
also felt this frequency, and
Yes.
another way of saying it is like harmonics,
Yes.
tapping into the harmonics, and there's a particular harmonic frequency that you
Mhm.
feel, that you vibrate towards, and that is what kind of brings your genetic code into sequence and starts resequencing and stuff like that.
Yep. Yep.
So
And
yeah.
it's absolutely beautiful. So the multidimensional self, what a lot of people talk about enlightenment as being a little bit chaotic, right? What is actually occurring is a folding in on itself to then expand. It's,
Mm,
you know what I mean? It's like you look at the stars, the black holes, they give us a great example of what it is that we're actually doing, which is when we have that aha moment, all that we thought was possible before that aha moment just collapses in on itself for then for us to create another possibility, right?
yeah.
Am I being too you're gonna just guide me, right, if I'm being too out there? Because I could be out there.
Oh, that's what this show's all about, man. It's
Okay.
being out there. Because I tell you
Okay,
what,
good.
if people want to learn, this is the show to talk. This is the show to watch. Definitely.
So
You
what
know,
is it that you feel that people want to know the most about regarding this topic?
um, I think a lot of people are misled. Because when they think extraterrestrial or ETs or aliens, they obviously veer more towards, Hollywood and what they've seen in the
Mhm.
movies. Steven Spielberg's ET and Elliot, um, and you know uh, the movie Aliens. They see that, or the old, I wouldn't say old, but the grays. We see
Right.
pictures and videos of them all the time. They're everywhere.
Mhm.
The one on the show poster that I've posted, people look at that, they're like, oh, that's an alien, or that's a gray or a drone or something. People are looking at that. So I think people are also wanting to know, is that really what they look like, or do they look like us?
Right.
You know, because
So
the Palladians and the Arcturians and stuff like that are humanoid,
yeah.
so look a lot like
So
us.
so let's talk about being misled. First topic about being misled. So the way you're not misled is that you have an interpersonal connection to that divinity inside of you. When I say divinity is that source inside of you. I think that that's our first step to really understanding the multidimensional self. Is first you've got it. First you have to be okay, you have to be in peace in your mind and in your heart. You have to stop searching for answers, and your first step is to be okay, to be in a state of joy, to be in a state of love, to just let go of expectation of having to prove anything, having to prove that aliens are real or any of that stuff. And first, so you do not get misled, the only way you can lead yourself to the truth is recognizing that truth is within you. But for you to get there, you first have to take out all the parts of your mind that say to yourself that you're not enough, that you're little, and all of those things. You have to take that part out of your brain first before
Yeah.
you can really be guided to the correct truth within yourself. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And as far as images regarding, do they look like the Pleiadians? Do they look like the Greys? Do they look like these things? The reality, it's all of it, and
Yeah.
it's none of it, and it's constantly changing. So this is where our brain gets screwed up a little bit, right? Because we want to say the Pleiadians look like this because 500,000 people have seen Pleiadians and they have looked like this, and this is what the Pleiadians look like. But remember, we are constantly expanding.
Mm.
So those viewpoints that we had regarding a particular, let's say, species or aliens are constantly expanding the more we expand. So it's so big, you know. So again, I feel like the number one thing is first to get to that place. This is how I saw it during one ceremony. Um, Many years ago, when I first started ayahuasca, um, ayahuasca used to beat my butt, like like every freaking ceremony. I was like, oh my God. So it used to be a running joke when I first started ayahuasca that people would see when I would get up to go to the bathroom, they knew by the time I got back from the bathroom, it was on, right?
Yeah.
So what would happen to me is I would drink the medicine with everybody. And then all of a sudden, I had to go to the bathroom. So when I was in the bathroom, ayahuasca would be beating my butt. When I say ayahuasca beating your butt, was that it was just like you feel like, who are you? Where are you? You know, you're just like, what is going on? You know, and everything starts disintegrating, you know. Um, and so one time I was kind of upset at the medicine because it was so strong. And I said, you know, why do you have to be so strong? And I hear the medicine say to me, well, I'm strong, you're strong. And if I'm not strong, you're not going to respect me. Now get up, wash your hands, and wash your face and become me. And I said, okay. So and that's what I did. I got up, I washed my hands, washed my face. And then as soon as I washed my face, it's like everything started sparkling. I go into the ceremony space, which was outside, and I sit down. And what I see is a keyboard in front of me. And this keyboard has it's like block keyboard with different symbols. And I was pressing on this keyboard, and this keyboard gave off a vibration with colors.
Yeah.
And what I saw was there was a portal that was right there, right? And it was translucent with a ton of colors.
Uh,
And I knew that that portal had no beginning, no end, but that portal also led to this spaceship, right? Um, so this is why I'm saying it's super important to first get to that place where you know that your source energy, where you can be in that portal. You know, the only way to get into that portal to be able to access alien energy and the multidimensional self is, again, you have to let go of preconceived notions of littleness, of that it has to be this way or it has to be that way. You have to get in this frequency, what you said, this frequency, that particular frequency that gets you to be able to communicate with aliens or any other life forms, right? Is this frequency of like, how do I put it to you? It's something that happens to you when you're in a deep state of meditation where there's like an emptiness. There's
yeah.
a certain sound that appears where there's a deep, deep emptiness. There's so much rhythm and symphony in deep emptiness.
Huh. Yeah. And it's also feeling the surrender, because
Yes.
I kept telling myself that I was I yeah, it was me, my essence, my divine self kept telling my brain, shut off, don't think,
Right.
surrender.
Right.
Just surrender and let it take you.
And what does that so surrender and let it take you? How did you do that?
I don't know. I guess carefully. I was like, because my mind, this compulsory thought generating machine up here that we call a brain, is just second guessing things. And then, like I kept thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Oh my God, this is I'm feeling so weird. I'm vibrating. I'm feeling all this harmonics, and it's like I don't know what's going on. And then suddenly it's like, and I kept remembering something. I'm going, surrender, let go of everything. Just let it. Like it's just like laying back on. It's like being in the raging rapids and just
Yeah.
falling back and just let the river take you. Don't
Yes.
fight the river, because if you fight the river, it's gonna beat the shit out of you.
Exactly.
So you just let go and just let the water take you, let the river take you, and
Yeah.
experience the journey.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's absolutely beautiful the way you describe that. And so the surrender, let go, let go, let go, let go. And so I don't know if you remember that at a certain point, it's beautiful that you spoke about the river, because in a certain point during that ceremony that you were in,
Mm,
I was singing to the river, and that divine river that is inside of us, that is constant inside of us.
mm.
To realize the only reason we do not realize that is there is because we're fighting that river. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you remember, wise one. This is great.
I
This is amazing.
Yeah, right. It's like, and that's weird too, because there's some times where I don't remember. It's like I'll block certain things out of my mind. I like people ask me like right off the block, right off the top. You remember anything? Can you tell me anything about it? And suddenly be like, I can't tell you shit right now. But let me sit back and let me channel and kind of get back into that energy. And suddenly, as soon as I start feeling that, I'll it's almost like time warping back into
Yes.
that, especially that music that was played. There was that
Mhm.
chant, the Devi prayer. When I was listening,
Mhm.
every time I listen to that Devi prayer and get into a meditation, even today, it takes me back to that moment, or those moments as I'm going in and out of consciousness.
Oh,
And that was those states, and it's like, ooh.
that's beautiful. So I urge people, if they've ever had an experience that you just described, like in and out of what we perceive consciousness, if they ever had an experience like that, to remember that often, to go into the feeling of that, because remember, time's an illusion. So you can keep repeating that awesomeness, but because you're repeating it, what seems to be that you're repeating that feeling,
Mhm.
right? What happens is, because you have learned so much since that experience, your perspective or your 180, your 360 viewpoint of that ends up changing. It's always evolving. So
Yeah.
you could go back into that experience, what we would consider back in time, but remember, there is no time. So what it is that you feel like you're going back in time, but you're really not. You're going internal. The
Mm.
internal, they're drawing inward, it releases what the timeline, the linear timeline, because the inward is a single point, the
Yeah.
single point back, and to get to that, the point is completely released, and you're all that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're getting into the quantum physics. I'm sure there's some listeners out there going, "Oh yeah."
And do you know what's crazy about all of this? I
uh,
haven't studied any of it.
yeah,
None of it.
yeah, and that's what's amazing too, because people can talk about the books, the information, the math, the science of it, and the quantum levels of existence and time and space and mind. But people can talk about that and teach about it, and you know, in front of 100 people, or in a college. But when you experience it,
Mm,
not very many people can say they've experienced it.
right. Right. Right.
So,
So there was this one guy that I knew that he would say, Anita, I know everything that you know. I said, great, sweetheart. He's like, I read over 500 books. I said, great. What is your practice? I told him. And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, you read 500 books. What's your practice? And he's like, well, my practice is reading. So I said to him, I said, well, okay, now the wisdom is applying all that knowledge into a practice.
Yeah.
So the only reason that I know what I know is because I've practiced a lot. This isn't something that I do now and then. This is something I hold myself responsible, and not in a guilt type of way, in a joyful type of way. I hold myself responsible for always being aware that I am source and I am creation. And I hold myself accountable, which means that I'm super hyper vigilant on all the thoughts that are coming into my brain. I just, so thoughtlessness, right? When you are just not thinking and you're just allowing all these thoughts to go in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, what happens is that's when you become erratic, when you're unstable, because you have high and low thoughts, high and low thoughts, high and low thoughts, that up and down, up and down, up and down. The only way to achieve peace is to be very mindful. Mindful is meaning I am aware what is filling my mind right now.
Mm.
And so I hold myself really responsible for that. And so let's talk really quick about being able to access knowledge.
Yeah.
So, my partner used to get really upset at me because she's extremely academic. Yeah, I know that, Kat, she is so smart, right?
Yep.
And so I would tell her all the knowledge is inside of you, and she'll be like, BS, that's easy for you. And I was like, but it's easy for you too. And no, 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 no. So one night we were laying in bed, and we were starting to watch a show on black holes. And my interest level immediately went, I started falling asleep.
Yeah.
And so she was like super, amped up over this, geeking out. And right before I fell asleep, I said to her, I said, okay, if you want, I'll write something about black holes. And I went to sleep. Well, I hear this voice about 4 o'clock in the morning say, get up. So I get up. Obviously, I'm half asleep. And I just begin to write. And she wakes up like later on, obviously. And I give her this paper and I said, here, read it and see if it makes sense to you. Because when I read it, it actually didn't make sense to me. I didn't know what the hell the information was. And she looked at it and she goes, how the hell did you write this? Like, what? How did you know any of that stuff? And
Yeah.
I said, because I told you, we have all the information inside of us. We can access any information. Look how big this is. We're so stuck in what we feel is the simplicity of our daily day-to-day lives. And we have access to so much information,
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
information.
It's like you
What
tapped into source and
yeah,
it was like automatic writing.
yeah,
One of the mediumship, one of the clairs, as far as writing, you tapped into source and you just went,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But to be able to access that whenever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
way you do that is through practice, and it's through discipline. You have to do these things, though. You know what I mean? Practice, 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 practice. Be very vigilant of your thoughts. Be in that constant surrender mode to your divine good well-being, to that part of you that says, I know that I am creating this, that I have access to infinite knowledge, which
Hmm.
means this: when you are about to do a ceremony or cleansing, or all of this stuff, when you're
Yeah.
about to do something for somebody, you can't sit there and go, wait a minute, I'm unsure, hold on, oh my God, what just happened? You want somebody to be in there sitting in their knowing, right? So you have to know that you're infinite knowledge, that you can access any information, that nothing can harm you in the space of divine truth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It, there's a part of me too that it's like I've done this before. I've done a lot of it before. And then there's been moments like recently, I think the last time was the ceremony, the retreat last year. And, you know, something has been telling me you need to do not more ayahuasca, but
Mhm.
more channeling, tap into
Yeah.
the source, do more
Yeah.
meditation, do it, do it, do it. And it's like a part of me is going, no, no, not right now, not right now. I just want to hold off for a moment because I'm resting, or something like that. Because I have a feeling too that once I get into that field and tap into the source, I'm going to open up another door that not necessarily I'm going to want to close, but might get a little overwhelming at first.
So it remember that you can steer it the way you want to.
Yeah.
So if no, wait a second, let me rest. Wait a second, let me rest in source. Right?
Mm.
And then, oh my God, I'm gonna open. It's already there. That's the
Yeah.
thing, is that it's already there. So you're saying to yourself in a weird kind of way that um let me figure things out myself and not tap into this infinite knowledge. Right? So here's this like metaphorical door. Let's say that here's this metaphorical door that is all gold and shimmering and just freaking awesome, right? And the minute you open that door, it's like, oh, right? No, but just wait a second, because if I open that door, it's gonna create all this chaos. That means that I'm gonna have to change everything, but I kind of want to change everything. So it's that allowing yourself to be okay with your greatness,
Yeah.
allowing yourself to be okay with your magnitude, allowing it to just change everything to something better than you could ever imagine.
Mm.
Because it's like you're opening the door with already a preconceived notion that it's going to be chaos. But it doesn't have to be that way at
Mm.
all.
True. True. Yeah. It's like, and see, that's the mind. That's the brain. That's that compulsory thinking
Mhm.
that no, brain, just get into that moment like ayahuasca, surrender. Just don't fight the waves. Just let it
Right.
take you.
So the discipline would be this, like, so every day that I wake up, every day I go swimming, right? And when I go swimming, I'm in a state of meditation. And I find such awesomeness swimming, because even if you go swimming in a pool, you go swimming in whatever type of like lake or river, whatever it is you want to go swimming with, there's something what I find very appealing with swimming is the weightlessness that you feel, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is the ripples, the designs of the ripples when the sun is hitting the water. That's what, for me, I see when I am aware of frequencies, right, and vibrations. And I'm aware that every thought or every stroke of me swimming is creating a different ripple effect, right? So I
Yeah.
become ultra aware. I get into this place of just total serenity. And I do some fun stuff. I just I enjoy the visionary state so much. And I enjoy being out of my mind. So like I go into the deep of the pool. I see the ripples everywhere. And this morning I was like, oh, I was like floating, like I was like some fairy or something, and I'm laughing hysterically at myself. And I'm feeling like the alchemy of just, I just see sometimes it's the visionary state is so beautiful. Remember that my partner says this all the time, and it's so true. The mind doesn't know how to distinguish between the visionary state, the dream state, or what we consider reality.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're deep in a thought of a memory or a vision, whatever it is that you appear to be doing in the physical kind of takes a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And right, and you're so consumed with the visionary part that you're not even here. That's the funny part, is you realize you're really not even truly here. There's
Yeah.
an aspect of yourself that is here, and that's it.
And that kind of proves the point too. Like, I mention this all the time, is like, just like either taking a drive, or I ask people, how much do you remember driving to work or back home from work every day?
Mm.
How much do you remember of that trip?
Right,
How
right.
actual how much do you actually remember? Very little. We're on autopilot.
Yeah.
Where else were we? We
Right.
were in a dream, or not a daydream state. We're thinking of
Yeah.
something else. And
Yeah.
all those thoughts, we were putting ourselves, you know, somewhere else.
Right.
So we were living in another, yeah, we were simultaneously living in another dimension.
Yes. Yes. So that also proves that we are creation. We are creator energy, right? Because we're constantly creating what appears to be stories in our brain,
Yeah.
right? We're constantly creating stories, right? So when we're driving and then we're like, how did we get, how did we get here? Like, I don't even remember. And what was I even thinking about?
Yeah.
It's that we're constantly, this is why this is just an aspect of ourselves that appears to be here. This proves the multidimensional self, right? It's
Yeah.
just an aspect and it's such a small aspect that seems to be like doing physical things, but our brain is like everywhere. We are everywhere. We're in our stories in our head. We're in visions. We're rarely really present. And even when we really are hyper present, which means when we're hyper present, we could be hyper present in any type of frequency we want. So we could be hyper present in anger. So everything that appears around us, we're so hyper aware of this that everything is negative. Or we could be hyper aware in a state of now that is like one of like joy, and that everything is like magical and just amazing. And then you stay in this dimension for a little bit because you're really enjoying the process of it.
Yeah.
So what I do is I float in and out of it. Like I enjoy the process of this dimension. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I am aware of the creation, the ability to create whatever it is that I really want. Um, and then I also enjoy the daydream state, the visionary state, but I revel in that. It's like inside of us, there is like the spaceship, right? Let's talk about aliens again. Inside of
Yeah.
us, there's a spaceship, right? And we're literally like hovering like in a spaceship right now, and we have access to multidimensional states of beingness, so I'm a now how do you actually live like that though? You live like that in a really fun way. So one of the things that you were talking about is like you're kind of like leery about opening that door. And let me tell you, open it, honey. Open it wide and have fun and enjoy it. Like you, you got to think about this. So let's say, for instance, you're just taking a walk, right? And when you're aware of the multidimensional self, but the grandeur of it, the excitement of it, not the fear of it, but the excitement of it. So you could be walking and also be walking in different parts of the world and be aware of it. Like, okay, so sometimes when I go walking, for instance, I'm aware I'm also walking in Africa, in India, in different eras, right?
Mm.
And then also walking with no legs, just hovering.
Yeah.
Just have fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, Now, if anybody wants to, let me go back to your website here. Your website,
Yeah.
people want to reach out to you and seek some knowledge and guidance and some information from you. They can reach out to you at your website, which is
Yes.
eternallovinginnocence.com, correct?
Yes,
Awesome.
eternallovinginnocence.com. And then the website will also share with you the link to the email, which is very easy. It's the same thing, eternallovinginnocence@gmail.com.
And it's called the Ellie Project, Eternal
The,
Loving Innocence
yeah, the
Project.
Eli project. Yeah.
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 Wow. When did you start that, and how did that come about?
And that project started by the genius of my partner. Um,
Yeah.
um, the I was so I've studied many different disciplines as far as like I would meet certain people, gurus, shamans, and I would be interested in some of the things that they would have to say. And then, like I said, I would access the information regarding it. So at that point, when eternal loving innocence came into being, I was heavy into the Course of Miracles.
Mm.
And the Course of Miracles talks about innocence, and I absolutely love that, and it in us being eternal and us being loving. And so I said, okay, well, I feel like if you could be in a state of eternal loving innocence, you're in that place of that deep surrender into that like portal, what I was speaking about.
Yeah.
um but the actual structure part of all of that came from my partner. um because I don't know, sometimes I can be so kind of just having fun, that in being, that sometimes the structural part of, let me build this website, or let me build this, let me build that, sometimes I don't have the desire for any of it.
Yeah.
I just want to, I'm just enjoying just being. um and in that, what happens is, um things formulate. Like I was able to be with my partner, who is great in anything that it revolves around business, finance. And I'm not, and I'm not great at it because I don't give it that much of attention. The only thing that I do is I just allow things to come,
Yeah.
with ease and grace. And so I'm very, very grateful, that my partner does, Kat Rambo does this like amazing structural work, and she helps a lot of people with structure. Thank God, because I need structure, because I have zero structure, right? Which, when I say zero structure, is like, I'm not bound by any of it. It's just like, sometimes I just don't care, but in the most beautiful way.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
allow, and also you're not prisoner to it, because a lot of
No.
people are a prisoner to it
Right.
and they
Yeah,
don't know
I'm
how to
not.
escape that. I mean,
Right.
I kind of part like that. It's like, I try not to be bound by these things, but at the same time, it's like, oh man, I am.
It is, I think that some of us don't go into, again, our superpowers, imagination, that visionary state, right? So I think that a lot of us are bound by certain things because we don't give that part of us, that's that imagination, that visionary part, more attention. We give what appears to be the isness of the situation,
Yeah.
like, I have to pay my bills, I have to do this, I have to do that. But let's say you can go into the space of the visionary and say, okay, well, do I really want to work a 9 to 5 job? Do I really want to do these things? And who tells me that I have to do these things? Oh, because I need money. Well, what is money? What is any of it? Remember, every physical thing that it is that you see is just a matter of vibrations, right?
Yeah.
So if you could just tap into that abundant place that you really are, right, and allow that to come with ease and grace. And that's the thing, is that we say to ourselves, we have to work really hard to be able to achieve certain things. So in our head, we keep saying, okay, we got to keep working, we got to keep working, we got to keep working, we got to work so hard. And if we can just let go, stop that for a minute, and take a deep breath and say, okay, let me have fun. Let me just go, let me just drop into this eternal awareness that I am. Let me ask myself, what is it that I really want?
Mm.
I am creation. I am creator. I am one with creation. I'm one with creator. That means I can access anything I want. Hmm. Okay. What do I want? Let's see. What do I really want? And if we could do that on a daily basis, what's going to happen is things are going to end up appearing in your life to get you to be one with that vision that you had, that you really wanted, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can shift it all. Like, a lot of times when I do consultations with people, on everybody that ever consulted, like once a week with, has changed their life completely. All of them own their own business. All of them are successful. Like, and it's not because I know about business per se, is that I know the mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Literally all of them have changed their life. One of them ended up, making a shit ton of money, and it just came to him. and with an inspired thought, and
Yeah.
he's like, Anita, like, what do I do with my life now? What's going to be my legacy? And I said to him, I said, okay, you want to know your legacy. Let's say your legacy is, man, that guy really lived life. He really had a lot of fun. And he just wasn't buying that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Anita, but I need to feed 1,000 starving children. And I said, well, first be okay with the enjoyment, because even if you feed 1,000 starving children, if you're starving yourself, spiritually and mentally, then you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
first have to be okay with just being enjoyed. That's one of the biggest I feel atranques, or how you say that in English, blockages that people have in their life. They're just freaking not okay with just being happy. They're just so accustomed to just having something come over, or and take over them to create some sort of chaos or misery so they can learn. It doesn't have to be that way. You can learn
Yeah.
through joy, you know
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think we forget about being happy, because I remind myself that every day. There's times I'll go into work and a regular job, and there's a part of it I sit back, I'm going, oh my God, it's gonna be awful. But I'm
yeah,
telling myself that it hasn't even happened yet.
right.
Nothing has happened yet, but we're sabotaging ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
Okay.
awful. This is going to be. I'm like, oh, well, it will be if you keep saying that.
Right. So let's look at job, but it's completely different. Let's say you go into work, and before you go into work, you're absolutely right. It's really a discipline. Before you get out of your house, you're in that happy, good feeling. You're smiling from ear to ear. You're like, I do a lot of claps. Remember vibration, right? So it's
Yeah.
as simple as even just clapping your hands or going woo.
Yeah.
Those kind of sounds make you happy, right? So let's say you're in work, and it seems to be something you have to put your mind at work. Let's say you have a technical job, like you're an engineer or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that you're in your job, you have a deadline, and you're stressed out about this deadline. And the best way to achieve the deadline in a state of joy is first be in a state of joy, knowing that the project that you're doing, you're tapping into your creative possibilities, right? No, tapping into this infinite knowledge inside of you that is going to show you exactly what to do with clarity, with ease. That's another word that people don't like, and that feel like they have to work hard to achieve anything,
Yeah.
is the word ease. So you're at work and you can't stand your job. A lot of times people can't stand their jobs. The best way to stand their job is to literally daydream more. Now, like, let's say you have to use your brain for your job. You're required to do certain and perform certain tasks. Remember what you said about driving. Well, driving, you're supposed to be performing a task that's important, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're in a visionary state.
Yep.
Why couldn't you do that at work? Right?
Yeah. 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 Put yourself on autopilot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
autopilot. Your body already knows what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Huh. Heck yeah. Um. So, eh, did you know it's already been an hour?
Are you
We
serious?
we just left. We must have went to space. We must have aborted a spacecraft or something like that, because time has flown
Has it
really
been an
quick.
hour?
It's already been an hour. It's like 6 minutes till six.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh man. Um. So with the few minutes that we have left,
Mm,
what would be a takeaway? What would be the best takeaway? As far as especially extraterrestrials, since that's the
okay.
subject, is
Yeah.
from your experience with them, what do you
Mm.
feel that they want us to know?
What I feel that they want us to know is that is honestly a lot of knowledge. What I feel that they want us to know is that for us to realize that we are them and that we can communicate with them, um, we have to soften up the rigidity that we're just this body. Um, because the only way to have true communication with extraterrestrial, to really vibe with them,
Yeah.
you're not in your body that much. You know what I mean? Even if you feel like you were in your body, when you are communicating with them, you are aware that you're not the body.
Yeah.
You're just aware of that. And so what I feel like they really want us to know is the greatness of not just being this body.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Here's an interesting question. Just jumped in my mind because I feel this being asked a lot,
Okay.
even now, through spirit is, um, there's been a thought that, pretty much just about most of the extraterrestrial life out there that we experience, or, every now and then, is when you say they're us, we're them,
Mm,
that the thought or the idea that they are us
mm,
thousands of years advanced, they're us.
right,
And as we look at it as a physical form, like, okay,
right,
physically within time space or space
right,
time aspect, that the races of beings out there, like human beings 1,000 years from now, or human beings 10,000 years from now, that's who they are.
right,
They're traveling through space time.
right,
And basically, if you travel through space, you're traveling through time.
right,
They're just coming back to see themselves.
right, right. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me go
yeah.
see myself.
So, and we are too. That's it. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing, is that we're constantly doing that, and we showed that throughout this whole experience that we've been sharing, is that we just traveled through space and time through this conversation that you and I had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, you're absolutely right though. It's that they're coming back to see a version of themselves, saying, "Hey, hey, get a little of this information." you know,
Yeah.
but we do that too. We so that's why we are them and they are
Yeah.
us. We're one. It's yeah.
Wow. Whew. Man, we can have shows and shows and shows and shows and shows and shows and shows.
Yeah.
All kinds of shows. Ah,
Thank you so much, though, for having me on here. And you're right. So if people want to reach myself or my partner, it is through eternallovinginnocence.com. And if you don't know how to spell that, look it up.
yep. Yep.
Eternal,
Yeah, if
and
we
then
want
look
to
up
find it, it'll
innocence.
be on our website. It'll be on the
Yeah.
Conscious Radio Network website, and which you can find down in the description of
Yes.
this show here on the YouTube channel. And let's see, is there anything? Oh, is there any upcoming events? Any are you
Um,
guys gathering the next retreat?
yes. So we're having several retreats. Sometime in July. We're still going over the dates. And that's going to be in Tennessee. We'll be
Mm,
there for a month, doing several retreats there with sacred medicines. And then we are going to be doing a retreat in Florida on August 26th as well.
yeah,
Mhm.
sweet,
Yeah.
awesome,
Thank you so much,
awesome.
sweetheart. It's been
You are
such a
very,
blessing.
very welcome. And
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
um,
you.
yeah, let's talk about the next show and stuff like that. If there's anything else you want to share on the network and stuff like that, reach out to me anytime, and
Please.
we'll set something else up. Hopefully, I'll have a different. I'm testing a new platform for video live streaming and stuff like that. It's a lot more interactive with the audience. So,
Oh, good.
um,
Yeah, because I love to answer questions.
yeah, because
Yeah.
and we'll be able to see it too on the screen. So
Oh, that'd be,
you'll be
yeah,
able to
that'd
see
be
it
awesome.
and whatnot. So, but well,
I
I will
learned a
let you
lot from
go,
it.
and
Thank you so much.
thank you so much for your time, and
Thank you. Thank you.
you're very welcome. Namaste, my friend.
Love you. Love you. Thank you.
Love you, love you.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching Conscious Radio Network, and until next week. Where's my mouse? There it is. Woohoo! Y'all have a good night. Bye.